So it seems to be a lot of confusion on the journey home to ourself, home to God. And the confusion is sometimes, is always actually around the body. And even the body's health. There's always, there is no perfect body or perfect health. Sometimes we can achieve health in form, for a time, until the sickness strikes again, But that's the confusion, the attempt to make a better body, a better form. I was going into the Song of Prayer. I think he talks about healing of the body here. He says it shouldn't be too strongly emphasized. It's an aid. Can be seen as an aid on the journey of forgiveness. So, but it can be helpful to go into this. So the cause of sickness, we want to know what is the cause of sickness. That would be helpful to know. He's saying, do not mistake effect for cause, nor think the sickness is apart and separate from what its cause must be. It is a sign, a shadow of an evil thought that seems to have reality and to be just, according to the usage of the world. It is external proof of inner sins, and witnesses to unforgiving thoughts that injure and would hurt the Son of God. So that's what sickness is. Healing the body is impossible, and this is shown by the brief nature of the cure. Even like if you take antibiotics or, it's like, it seems to heal the body quickly, and for a while, But it's all keeping the body as the reality. When the body gets better, it's easier to stay in the illusion, So actually sometimes sickness is used for awakening and is attracted for the mind to wake up. The body yet must die, and so its healing but delays its turning back to dust. So he's saying it right here. So the body's healing delays its return to dust, where it was born and will return. The body's cause is unforgiveness of the Son of God. So even the body's existence comes from unforgiveness of the Son of God. It has not left its source, and in its pain and aging and the mark of death upon it, this is clearly shown. Fearful and frail it seems to be to those who think their life is tied to its command and linked to its unstable, tiny breath. Fearful and frail. So he keeps coming back very strongly all the time. Where do you identify? You identify as this body. It's constantly. And there will be fear when we identify as the body. And when we start to loosen from that identity, there will be fear too. The ego's fear of losing you. And that's what comes up when there is terror. That's this ego's fear of losing its grip. But even that is goodness. It's good to go through it. We have to go through it. There's no other way. Death stares at them as every moment goes irrevocably past. Their grasping hands, which cannot hold them back. Death stares at them. The ones who identify with the body. And they feel fear as bodies change and sicken. They sense the heavy scent of death upon their hearts, the heavy smell of death. The body can be healed as an effect of true forgiveness. Only that can give remembrance of immortality, which is the gift of holiness and love. Forgiveness must be given by a mind which understands that it must overlook all shadows on the holy face of Christ, among which sickness should be seen as one. Sickness is just a shadow to be overlooked. I asked David one time what I should do with symptoms. I had a lot of symptoms. He said, extend, keep extending. Keep going. And it felt so fresh. It felt like, oh yeah, all these forms and symptoms and effects of the belief in the body. Why would I focus too much on them? The answer is extending, being spirit, being in spirit. So this shadow that sickness is should be overlooked. Nothing but that. The sign of judgment made by brother upon a brother and the Son of God upon himself. For he has damned his body as his prison and forgot that it is he who gave this role to it. So he has damned his body as a prison, forgot that he himself gave this role to it. So if we feel limited in the body, we have damned it to be a prison. But we ourselves gave that role to the body. And this is the core. This is important to see, but the ego doesn't want you to see that. The power of the mind. But this is why we can never really be a victim. So we need to look at that. Really look at the victim belief. It's like one of the most important steps. Look at that. Because if you believe you're imprisoned in a body, you will believe that others are jailers, others are imprisoning you there. Believe in your own body and in other bodies. And so what he has done now, built this prison, must God's Son undo. The truth must undo this. But not alone, for he has thrown away the prison's key, his holy sinlessness, and the remembrance of his Father's love. So when you feel lost, it's because you threw away the key to freedom. Yet help is given to you, and the voice of your Father placed in you. The power to heal is now your Father's gift, for through his voice, he still can reach you, his Son, reminding you the body may become your chosen home, but it will never be your home in truth. So that voice is there. Distinctions therefore must be made between true healing and its faulty counterpart. The world of opposites is healing's place, for what in heaven could there be to heal? So yeah, this world of duality is the place for healing. Because in truth, no healing is needed, of course. So how do we do it? We have, especially when we have opened the door to awakening in truth, we need to use truth's tools. Not the world's tools for healing. So he's saying there is true healing and a faulty counterpart. So we need to look at that. What is this faulty counterpart that we don't need to rely on? He's explaining, as prayer within the world can ask amiss and seeming prayer, he's explaining, Healing has a counterpart in this world. Prayer has a counterpart in this world. You can ask amiss. You can ask for things that are not infinite. That's false prayer. And seeming charity, forgive to kill. So he's bringing up false forgiveness too. So prayer can be false, forgiveness can be false. Or charity, it can forgive to kill, or he says forgive to destroy, which is I'm better than you, so I can forgive what you did. I can forgive your faults because I'm better than you. That's to forgive to kill. And so also healing can be false as well as true, a witness to the power of the world or to the everlasting love of God. So if you heal the body through a worldly cure, you witness to the power of the world. But if you heal through forgiveness and through the power of God, you witness to God. So it's pointing out those differences. False healing merely makes a poor exchange of one illusion for a nicer one, a dream of sickness for a dream of health. And this is the striving in the world, to get a better body. If you have symptoms, what if you instead just said, whatever glorifies God? You know? I want to be a voice for God. I want to listen to the voice for God. Okay, let the form be what it is. But if we have that prayer, instead of, if we have symptoms, we say, oh, I want to fix the symptoms and get the body better. You know, it's a big difference. You don't need to change a dream of sickness to a dream of health. This can occur at lower forms of prayer, combining with forgiveness kindly meant, but not completely understood as yet. Only false healing can give way to fear, so sickness will be free to strike again. Of course, you know, if we have false healing, if we fix the body, of course sickness can strike again. Illusion is maintained. Not much has changed. False healing can indeed remove a form of pain and sickness, but the cause remains and will not lack effects. Cause, believing you are a body. The cause is still the wish to die and overcome the Christ. The cause is still to die and overcome the Christ. And with this wish is death a certainty, for prayer is answered. The power of the mind. Yet there is a kind of seeming death that has a different source. It does not come because of hurtful thoughts and raging anger at the universe. It merely signifies the endless count for usefulness of body functioning, and so it is discarded as a choice, as one lays by a garment now outworn. So this is a more beautiful way of death, like the usefulness of body is done. That's different than the raging at the universe, that kind of death. This is what death should be, a quiet choice made joyfully and with a sense of peace, because the body has been kindly used to help the Son of God along the way he goes to God. We thank the body then for all the service it has given us, but we're thankful too the need is done to walk the world of limits and to reach the Christ in hidden forms and clearly seen, but most in lovely flashes. Now we can behold him without blinders, in the light that we have learned to look upon again. Get goosebumps when I heard this. The body is like a pen, like a pencil. That's how kind of meaningless it is and useful. It can be used for communication, but don't give it more importance than that. And when the body is laid aside this way, because the usefulness is done, we call it death, but it is liberty. It does not come in forms that seem to be thrust down in pain upon unwilling flesh, but as a gentle welcome to release. If there has been true healing, this can be the form in which death comes, when it is time to rest a while from labor gladly done and gladly ended. Now we go in peace to freer air and gentler climate, where it is not hard to see the gifts we gave were used for us. For Christ is clearer now, His vision more sustained in us. His voice, the Word of God, more certainly our own. This gentle passage to a higher prayer, a kind forgiveness of the ways of earth, can only be received with thankfulness. Yet first true healing must have come to bless the mind with loving pardon for the sins it dreamed about and laid upon the world. Now are its dreams dispelled in quiet rest. Now its forgiveness comes to heal the world, and it is ready to depart in peace, the journey over and the lessons learned. This is not death according to the world, for death is cruel in its frightened eyes and takes the form of punishment for sin. How could it be a blessing then? And how could it be welcome when it must be feared? What healing has occurred in such a view of what is merely opening the gate to higher prayer and kindly justice done? Death is reward and not punishment. But such a viewpoint must be fostered by the healing that the world cannot conceive. There is no partial healing. What but shifts illusions has done nothing. What shifts illusions has done nothing. If you're healed, your healing is complete. Forgiveness is the only gift you give and would receive. So in any given instant, what is the choice? Forgiveness is the only sane choice in any given instant. That's the choice to heal, is to forgive perception, not to fix the form that just changes the illusion and perpetuates it. False healing rests upon the body's cure, leaving the cause of illness still unchanged, ready to strike again, until it brings a cruel death in seeming victory. It can be held at bay for a little while, and there can be brief respite as it waits to take its vengeance on the Son of God. Yet it cannot be overcome until all faith in it has been laid by and placed upon God's substitute for evil dreams, a world in which there is no veil of sin to keep it dark and comfortless. That's why all darkness can be faced and must be faced. This is the gentle invitation, is to look at the darkness, and when we look at it, it's gone. We shouldn't fear to to look at darkness. At last the gate of heaven opens, and God's Son is free to enter in the home that stands ready to welcome him, and was prepared before time was, and still but waits for him. This is like the lesson, I will be still an instant and go home. You know, this beautiful invitation to just look at the darkness and free the mind, or overlook sickness and free the mind, overlook victimhood and free the mind, overlook judgment and free the mind. Sometimes the ego can be so stubborn that we don't want to hear the truth. Sometimes I've thought, if Jesus himself would appear, then I would listen. But in fact, he is there all the time, speaking. And I actually say no to him when I say no to hearing the truth through a brother or a sister, or through spirit. Times when, a long time ago, when my ego was very stubborn, and David would say that. Say, if Jesus himself spoke to you now, you wouldn't even listen. And I knew it was Jesus. But that's how stubborn and closed the mind can be. But this is, we can save ourselves time by the little willingness. Give the little willingness. The ego always wants to say but. Yes, but I have something worse. Or, yes, but my case is, I'm an impossible case. No. That's just another unforgiveness to be seen.
Anyone believe that they're an impossible case here?
Say again, Barret?
Anyone here believe they're an impossible case?
Impossible case. Definitely had the thought, alright, at times. Hopeless case.
We have a video for that.
Yeah.
Another hopeless case.
You're another hopeless case.
Yeah, and I feel also that I think today's lesson is beautifully going with this too. And the section I need do nothing also came to mind. Because he talks about the body and you have too much faith in the body as a source of strength. If we put our faith in the body, we're doomed to time. And we are doomed to feel isolated and alone. And maybe in a silent retreat like this, sometimes that feeling strikes, and maybe more than at other times. I'm isolated and alone, because a part of the mind that still believes in the body will feel that way. But that's an invitation to go further. And there can be a beautiful opening if we don't buy into it, if we just, carry on, And maybe you read something helpful, or you have a meditation where the softness comes back in, or a meditative walk. Because it is so simple. The ego makes problems so big and hard. But forgiveness is so simple. So he begins this "I need do nothing" with talking about the body and the belief, that the body is a source of strength. We put too much faith in this idea that the body is a source of strength. And he says, what plans do you make that don't involve its comfort and protection or enjoyment in some way? He's pointing out that most of the plans we make is for the body's protection, comfort, or enjoyment. Protection, comfort, or enjoyment. A lot of time and mind energy goes into that. This makes the body an end and not a means in your interpretation. And this always means you still find sin attractive. When the body is an end, it's because you find sin attractive. And sin is a symbol, sin is not real, but it's a symbol of death. So don't make the body an end. Just keep it as a simple means. If you notice yourself making plans for the body's comfort, just say, well, how can I see the body as a means right now instead of an end? No one accepts atonement for himself who still accepts sin as his goal. You have thus not met your one responsibility. Atonement is not welcomed by those who prefer pain and destruction. Saying you prefer pain and destruction if you plan for the body's comfort. But it's not like in open awareness that it is pain and destruction to get the tea you love the most, or to make it comfortable. It doesn't mean that we should, be ascetic. Asceticism, is not also the answer, but to question if we strive for the body's comfort. Just question it and lift it up into awareness. There is one thing that you have never done. You have not utterly forgotten the body. It has perhaps faded at times from your sight, but it has not yet completely disappeared. You're not asked to let this happen for more than an instant, yet it is in this instant that the miracle of atonement happens. Afterwards you will see the body again, but never quite the same. And every instant that you spend without awareness of it gives you a different view of it when you return. A lighter view becomes just the simple means. And here's it's powerful. At no single instant does the body exist at all. It's always remembered or anticipated, but never experienced just now. The invitation to come back to the holy instant, this present moment. The body fades from awareness. The body is remembered or anticipated, expected. And that's all it is. It's a memory. So that's why truth can be remembered. It says that truth can be remembered as well as lies. And this is such a gentle, huge opening, like a portal in awareness that can just open up suddenly. And there are no bodies and no concerns for other bodies in that experience. Only the body's past and future make it seem real. Time controls it entirely, for sin is never wholly in the present. And in any single instant, the attraction of guilt would be experienced as pain, and nothing else, and would be avoided. So this attraction to guilt would just be seen as pain and would be avoided, and not attractive. And that's nice. To calm the mind enough to be able to see that. It has no attraction now. Its whole attraction is imaginary and therefore must be thought of in the past or in the future. This attraction to guilt. And the way to accept the holy instant is to be willing to see no past or future. Be willing to not focus on any past or any future. Be open to the present, to the power of now. Release is given you the instant you desire it. Then he talks about how many spend their lifetime in preparation, and they have indeed achieved their instance of success. But this course does not attempt to teach more than they learn in time, but it does aim at saving time. You may be attempting to follow a very long road to the goal you have accepted. It's extremely difficult to reach atonement by fighting against sin. Enormous effort is expended in the attempt to make holy what is hated and despised. The form, the body. Nor is a lifetime of contemplation and long periods of meditation aimed at detachment from the body necessary. So we don't want to just spend our time in preparation for a future goal of freedom. I think this course has another aim, has the aim of saving time, and that's why he explains everything so clearly, so that we can understand the way out that's available. You want to find the portal faster. I can think of these Vipassana monks that came together. They came together after 30 years of practicing, but they still have blocks. They came to deep meditation, but then they reached this block, couldn't go further because there's more practical steps to take. So even the path of meditation can be, it can be much more time consuming than if you take A Course in Miracles and take the forgiveness route, relationships and forgiveness. Yeah, he's saying even these attempts, these long periods of meditation and detachment from the body, saying all such attempts will ultimately succeed because of their purpose. Yet the means are tedious and very time-consuming, for all of them look to the future for release from a state of present unworthiness and inadequacy. So it is the invitation to, it is about going within, but if there is a future goal, it's very tedious and time-consuming. Your way will be different, not in purpose but in means. A holy relationship is a means of saving time. So here is the answer. A holy relationship. One instant spent together with your brother restores the universe to both of you. How do you spend an instant with a brother? You forgive them completely. And you spend the holy instant with them. And it's beautiful. I stood with Stephen in the parking lot outside Aldi a couple of days ago, and Barret was waiting by the car. And it was a holy instant. It was a holy experience of time and space was gone. Just very, very, very light. Even though we spoke about some past stuff, but that didn't matter. It was just an experience of the holy instant. You are prepared. Now you need but to remember you need do nothing. It would be far more profitable now merely to concentrate on this than to consider what you should do. How many times have you thought of what you should do this morning? It would be far more profitable to remember you need do nothing. Concentrate on this. When peace comes at last to those who wrestle with temptation and fight against the giving into sin, when the light comes at last into the mind given to contemplation, or when the goal is finally achieved by anyone, it always comes with just one happy realization. I need do nothing. Here is the ultimate release, which everyone will one day find in his own way, at his own time. You don't need this time. Time has been saved for you because you and your brother are together. This is the special means this course is using to save you time. You're not making use of the course if you insist on using means which have served others well, neglecting what was made for you. Save time for me by only this one preparation and practice doing nothing else. I need do nothing. It's a statement of allegiance, a truly undivided loyalty. Believe it for just one instant, and you will accomplish more than is given to a century of contemplation or of struggle against temptation. I need do nothing. I hear the angel choir singing. To do anything involves the body. And if you recognize you need do nothing, you have withdrawn the body's value from your mind. Here is the quick and open door through which you slip past centuries of effort and escape from time. Centuries. Centuries is hundreds. This thing is it tens or hundreds, but it's hundreds. It's like lifetimes. We slip by lifetimes. Bye-bye reincarnation. This is the way in which sin loses all attraction right now. For here is time denied and past and future gone. Who needs do nothing has no need for time. To do nothing is to rest and make a place within you where the activity of the body ceases to demand attention. Into this place the Holy Spirit comes and there abides. He will remain when you forget, and the body's activities return to occupy your conscious mind. Yet there will always be this place of rest to which you can return. And you will be more and more aware of this quiet center of the storm, than all its raging activity. You can return to the quiet center. You will be more and more aware of it than of the storm and its raging activity. This quiet center, in which you do nothing, will remain with you, giving you rest in the midst of every busy doing on which you are sent. This quiet center will be with you, giving you rest in the midst of every busy doing. For from this center will you be directed how to use the body sinlessly. It is this center from which the body is absent that will keep it so in your awareness of it. Yeah, the center, this quiet center, can be there even when you're called into doings, because this quiet center will keep the stillness in you. Even you're aware of the body and its activity and its use. The quiet center is the stillness where the activity can extend from. So I think we're ready for this morning's lesson. We're sufficiently prepared to take in what the Holy Spirit wants us to focus on today. I merely follow, for I would not lead. This is another very, very soft lesson. I merely follow, for I would not lead. Lesson 324. Father, you are the one who gave the plan for my salvation to me. God, you are the one who gave the plan for me being saved, for my freedom. God, you gave the plan for my freedom to me. You have planned the way I am to go. You have set the way I am to go, the road to take, and every step in my appointed path. I cannot lose the way. I can but choose to wander off a while and then return. Your loving voice will always call me back and guide my feet aright. My brothers all can follow in the way I lead them, yet I merely follow in the way to you, as you direct me and would have me go. So let us follow one who knows the way. We need not tarry, and we cannot stray except an instant from his loving hand. We walk together, for we follow him. And it is he who makes the ending sure and guarantees a safe returning home. I merely follow, for I would not lead. And with this prayer we can go through this, I first went into around sickness, body symptoms. And we keep this lesson, I merely follow, for I would not lead. We let these things fall to the side, because he will lead us through with a goal of peace of mind, this steady experience of freedom. And this is the key, I merely follow, for I will not lead. So if you would lead, you would focus on the body, comfort or something, and control, but if you merely follow, it's a humble experience of God being the leader, God being in the mind, being present. This is all that we need, forever and forever.